Kelvin Kiptum's final journey started with thousands of athletes and residents of Uasin Gishu and Elgeyo Marakwet counties turning out in numbers to accord him their last respect. The body started its journey home from Eldoret Hospital mortuary, where it had been laying for burial at his home in Cherunya, Elgeyo Marakwet today. Top leaders, including President William Ruto, are expected to attend the state funeral today. And as Elvis Koskei now reports, thousands of mourners viewed Kiptum's body.
On Wednesday night, Eldoret town came to a standstill as athletes and hundreds of residents thronged the Eldoret CBD, where they held a candlelight procession to pay last respects to the men's world marathon record holder, Kelvin Kiptum Cheruyot, who died in a road accident about 2 weeks ago. Many described the late Kiptum as a hardworking young man who had a promising future.
Toka huko pale Abaratam tukakuja tukamalizia hapa Koroshot. Na sisi kama viongozi wa IK27 tumekuja kusimama na Kelvin Kiptum na vijana wote hapa Uasin Gishu County wameungana nasi. Kutoka kule Elgeyo Marakwet, kutoka kule Nandi wamekuja hapa kuomboleza na sisi ili tuwashe candles kwa kijana mwenzetu.
Kusema pole kwa familia, jamaa na marafiki wa Kelvin Kiptum, a young recently ratified world champion. Tunasema pole sana. We send our heartfelt, sincerest condolences to the family, friends and relatives all over.
Early Thursday, the body was removed from Eldoret Hospital in the presence of family members, clergy, and some of the country's big names in athletics. Kiptum's father, Samson Cheruyot, mother Mary Kangogo, his widow Asenet, and children were at the morgue to receive the body of the loved one. The convoy later snaked its way to Iten in the county of Elgeyo Marakwet, one of the country's most preferred training destinations for public viewing at the Iten Sports Ground.
Dereva mimi ni coach, hasa nimekuwa nikitrain naye personally na mjua Kiptum zaidi. Ni pigo kwa dunia, si kwa Iten peke yake. Kiptum alikuwa ametuonyesha kulikuwa na potential kubwa sana. Tulijua kitambo, lakini nila alikuwa hajapata kupata opportunity ya kukimbia marathon. Tulikuwa tunamuitanga Mr 59 sababu marathon zake zote alikuwa amekimbia 59. Hakuja akaweka PB kwa Valencia, alafu Mungu alikuwa amemwambia kwa Valencia tena utakimbia time yako nzuri. Akaenda akakimbia marathon hiyo time ya 201 debut yake. Tukajua 2024 ni ya Kiptum.
Kuondoka kwa Kiptum imekuwa chungu sana kwa sisi wote. Tulikuwa tuna matarajio mingi sana kuhusu Kiptum. Wakati wa Olympic tulikuwa tunatarajia kwamba yeye atatuletea dhahabu, lakini sasa Mungu amefanya mambo yake.
And we continue to mourn our legend, we continue to mourn our hero. At least the governor has agreed that one of the roads here in Iten will be named after Kelvin Kiptum as an avenue. And tomorrow also we'll request the president that Kamareny also be renamed as Kelvin Kiptum Kamareny Stadium.
From Iten, the convoy headed to Chepkorio CK Church for memorial service and later to Kapkenda Girls High School, where the who in athletics, family and friends paid tributes. On Friday, President William Ruto is expected to lead national and local leaders at Chepkorio Showgrounds for the funeral service. The late Kelvin Kiptum Cheruyot will be interred at his Cherunya home in Ainapkoi in the county of Uasin Gishu. Elvis Koskei, KT News, Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Gavai's Haki Zemana, the Rwandan coach who died in a road accident with world marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum, was laid to rest at the Rusororo Cemetery in Kigali, Rwanda. Haki Zemana's body was flown to Kigali last Saturday with his family, led by his wife, Juan Chelimo, accompanying it. Haki Zemana tragically died in a road accident along the Elgeyo Marakwet Ravine Road on February the 11th that also claimed the life of record holder Kelvin Kiptum. Sports Cabinet Secretary Babu Namwamba, together with Athletics Kenya officials and a team from Kiptum's management, Golazo joined family and friends and paid their last respect to the Rwandan coach. Right, we want to continue also moving with the story of Raila Odinga and the AU quest, where they have latest development where he is actually went to Germany, to the college where he actually got his credentials. And there has been questions about qualifications. Is Raila Odinga qualified to vie for the top position of the African Union Commission chairman? Well, Raila's education has in the past been questioned even when he vied for presidency. His 4 days visit to Germany has brought out new information about his education background. Raila has revealed that he attended schools and colleges while in Germany. And as KTN's political affairs reporter Emmanuel Tao now reports, President William Ruto is expected to unveil Raila's campaign team for the AUC position.
Immediately after he declared his candidature for the Africa Union Commission chairperson position, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga jetted out of the country to Germany, where he attended his tertiary education from the early 1960s to 1970s. The former Prime Minister has been busy on social media with updates from Berlin to Leipzig. On Tuesday, Odinga visited Herder Institute, his former college in Leipzig, Germany, which he said brought back memories of his high school days.
Straight away, the apologies of our leader, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, he'll be trying to get back today from Germany.
The opposition leader also touched base at the Otto von Guericke University, Magdeburg, one of the youngest universities in Germany, founded in 1993. Odinga's visit raised several questions, with some clips targeting his academic qualifications resurfacing.
Kama kuna mtu ambaye hajulikani makaratasi yake ni ule candidate wa president wa Azimio. Makaratasi yake haijulikani imetoka kwa university gani. Huyo candidate wenu wa Azimio ni mtu ambaye hana classmate hata moja.
Nikafanya utafiti nikapata huyo Ngaru ambaye ni bwana yake ni jamaa tulisoma naye Ujerumani.
Raila has vied for president of this country severally. And to vie, you must submit your documents, including academic documents, and they must be verified. No one has ever doubted because they are all legitimate.
Odinga started his early schooling at Kisumu Union Primary, then proceeded to Maranda High School for secondary education. He, however, dropped out in 1962 and moved to East Germany, where he was admitted to the Herder Institution. In 1965, Odinga was awarded a scholarship at the Technical School, Magdeburg, which is part of the faculty at the University of Leipzig in East Germany. In 1970, Odinga graduated with a Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Raila features among 100 notable alumni of the University of Leipzig, alongside former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and is at position 41 in the prestigious list. Raila has taught at the Department of Mechanical Engineering at the University of Nairobi.
And I started teaching at this university at the tender age of 25. My department is just the one opposite here.
Some of the academic requirements for the Africa Union Commission include law, international relations, economics, diplomacy management, business administration, political science, and social sciences.
The requirements are only indicative. They are not determinative.
Okay.
And all those requirements are subject to change by what they call the role manager. So for me, the question of qualification does not arise at all.
Okay.
Raila is not qualified. He's overqualified.
His candidature for the AU job has, however, raised speculations on his possible retirement from local politics. However, the ODM party has come to the defense of Odinga's space in the local politics, saying the former premier remains active and continues to be the party leader of the Orange Party. This comes as President William Ruto is expected to formally unveil Odinga's campaign team for the AUC job, with Prime CS and CS for Foreign Affairs Musalia Mudavadi, the PS for Foreign Affairs Korir Singh, and top diplomats expected to feature in the lobby team. Pictures seen on social media of a meeting between retired President Uhuru Kenyatta together with Tanzania President Samia Suluhu Hassan have raised questions on the agenda, with sources indicating that former President Uhuru Kenyatta and former President Jakaya Kikwete could also be interested in the AU position. Emmanuel Tao, KTN News, Nairobi.
Baba Tosha, Baba for AU Secretariat. That is what has been captured today in the editorial cartoon inside the Standard by Victor. Also, GAM's housing bill. You saw how this week it has been such a feisty debate, and many of the legislators, almost half of them were not in-house to try and steamroll this particular bill. We had 149 of them missing, and also some have expressed and raised hesitation on the nature of debate, the way it was carried out. It was not really conducive. They were not given a handy opportunity to raise some of the queries they had, so it passed, and it's waiting for the assent of the president. And also, there was this retreat as well this week, turning up the heat, and this was the president telling the cabinet secretaries that you're not really up to scratch as far as your docket is concerned. You need to up the ante. This is what we want to look at with our panelist right now. And also, State House budget, that is the 447 million shillings according to Stano here. This is the state of a tax prayer in Kenya. I'll leave it for you to decipher that. This has also been the question: how will the political scenario be within ODM as far as on Ozime is concerned, marching on, aheadless, as is being put by GAMS. There are 2027 polls, a turn in between. We want to just put this into perspective with our panelists here briefly before we wind up the show. We'll wind up early today because of the state burial that will be happening from 8 o'clock. We'll be crossing over to Elgeyo Marakwet at 8 o'clock. Let's just begin with you, Kipruto Arap Kirwa. First of all, so now this is sorted. The fact that Raila has gone to his former college to verify his credential, and people will ask if he taught at the University of Nairobi in the 1970s. How did he do that without a degree?
Well,
it was a college by then.
It was already a university.
It was university college, or it was?
No, it was already a university. 1970, they had their charter. It is 1960 when it was Royal Technical College. But by 1970, it was
fully chartered.
Yeah, fully chartered university. But I don't want to spend my time about the credentials of Raila in terms of his academic achievement. I'm saying so because I think Raila evokes a lot of emotions from different quarters. He has enough lovers and he has enough haters. In the sense that even a position like that of AU, instead of us looking as Kenyans, that this is an opportunity in the life of AU for the last 60 years to have one of our own, not because of him, Raila, not because of us, Kenya, but because of the importance that that position may carry to the continent and the rest of the world. We are spending more time about what happens to Azimio without Raila. We are spending more time about what happens with the politics of Kenya without Raila being in the ticket. First of all, I appreciate the fact that the President of the Republic of Kenya is supporting Prime Minister Raila Odinga for that position. But while I do appreciate, I take it with a pinch of salt that some of the quarters from his corner are the ones putting some of these issues in the social media. Whether Kikwete is going to run, which I know conclusively that Kikwete is not interested in that particular position. Whether Raila has the necessary credentials to run for that particular position. So what could be the import of that? Is it that they want to slow down Raila by pretending to be campaigning for him while putting enough roadblocks on his journey to the AU, so that in the next 1 year, because that election is not going to take place this year, in the next 1 year, ODM and stroke Azimio will have suffered a blow that will take a bit of time to repair. Whether Raila is going to run himself, whether Raila is going to support somebody else, is what I say besmirks the pretense of our politics, the hypocrisy in our politics, lack of Hutu, to say the least. Because I strongly believe if President Ruto was keen, he should spend more time talking and marshalling his forces to support Prime Minister Raila. Not because of the fact that he was going to be his competitor in the next election. Perhaps Raila's presence would have made it easy for him to win, and Raila's absence will make it easy for him to lose. Because it is not always, I hope you are not ringing the bell.
No, it's accidental.
It's not always that when you remove your arch rival, you have a smoother sail. Because in politics, people vote for three things. They vote for you because they love you, or they believe in your story. They vote for you because they hate your opponent more than they hate you. And finally, they vote for you because they are naive. They think your promises are true. And this is the pattern of voting that we have witnessed in this country for the last 13 general elections. And therefore, I find it very hard, and even for people I reasonably think they're intelligent and they're properly schooled, to be able to get into the mud of trying to say, what does Raila portend to ODM? What does Raila portend to Azimio? We should be looking at what does this position mean to Africa when Raila is the main person at the helm, compared with whoever is leaving that particular office, Faki, who was also prime minister in Chad, a country whose credentials are not at the same level as Kenya. So I say it so with a lot of emotion, because I think this society of ours is full of pretense. You know, whether Ruto wins or loses the next election is not important for me. And whether he will perform well is a factor of his own promises that he has made to Kenyans. Whether he will deliver in the intervening period will decide whether he's going to win or lose. It is not whether Raila will be in town or Raila will not be in the ballot. Yep.
All right. Kindiki.
Well, thank you, Duvar. It's really difficult to comment on what's going on, but I think first I'll start by saying that the right person to comment or to give way forward on Raila's credentials is the university where he attended. The university has the mandate to pronounce itself and say, yes, he was our student, he was enrolled on this date and graduated on this date, and this is what he got. This is a very simple matter.
And I thought that is what we should have actually seen.
In academics, we don't debate on credentials.
Because if we go there, maybe, and we see pictures, was it a tour? That you can actually go and take a tour of University of Nairobi, or Moi University, or Daystar University, or whichever university, and put them on social media. I mean, that one does not really account for you verifying, or any authority verifying from the university that you went there. So would have expected, maybe, I don't know.
I have not finished the bar.
Yes.
I was just giving an introduction that if the university pronounces itself, the rest is politics. That's why I wanted to come. That we have a culture in this country where everything is translated as politics, whether it's academics, whether it's people's achievements or achievements, whatever it is, it's just political. So I think if the university has pronounced itself as we have seen there, then the other debate which is taking place is political. And politics goes with interest. There are people who are interested in Raila ascending to that position, and others are not interested at all. And therefore, in terms of politics, Mheshimiwa can tell us, because he has been there for a long time, longer than us. I've never been into elective politics, but I comment on issues about politics because I have interest in politics anyway. So you find that in a situation like this one is very unfortunate anyway, when a candidate from who is one of our own is fronted to become a candidate of the rest of other countries, because he is our candidate, and not every country in Africa which is producing a candidate to vie for that position. And then we Kenyans ourselves, then we are divided. So I think first I would say that we lack patriotism. We are not patriotic to our country because we look at the person occupying the office more than what is going to bring to us as a country. And if His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya has pronounced himself that he supports the candidate, my assumption is all other citizens in the country, we should support His Excellency Honorable Raila Odinga as a candidate for the position. However, you never know about politics. Politics is the life, it's a game, it's a life of the, it's a way of life and it's a game. So how it is played and how it will come and the end results will come out differently, maybe what we may think as Kenyans. But my concern here so much, I may not even be able to comment about politics so much, is that we need to be patriotic, we need to be democratic as a country. If we have a candidate who is vying for an international position, because it's an international, because it's the rest of Africa, we should put our hands and keep our differences aside, support the candidate. If he gets it, well and good. If he does it, we all don't get it because he's our candidate. But the culture of politics is so much entrenched in our culture and in our society, and that we cannot really run from it. So mine is just to say that the best wishes for Honorable Raila Odinga, His Excellency, if really he is interested in that position. But before I depart from that, there is an element of mutu yetu, our person. Maybe the people with the dissenting voice are the people who feel that he is not our person, because that's how we translate we interpret our politics. It's not our person. If today, the bar, you join Kenya Kwanza, people tag you as Kenya Kwanza, and you are not our person. If you join ODM, the same. But we can't avoid it because I've said that's the life. That's the life, and we have to navigate through the way of life and the interests that are there, and we wish him well as a candidate. And if there will be any other candidate, it's also well and good, because this is a democratic country, and there's nothing we can do so much right now, because the position will be there next year, and very little we can change between now and next year. So we go by that. But I think if the president, my point is that he has supported the candidature of Raila Odinga, then I think the rest of us should just give support so that they will decide at the voting side.
Right. Barack.
Okay, I pick it up right from there. And first observe that we shouldn't be very angry about these things. And from there, I would also add that I do not believe that things should be necessarily supported because the president has said. That is a very dangerous space to go into. In fact, it suffocates the kind of democracy that we are talking about. If we are votaries for the democratic tradition and practice, then we should allow all the various voices to be heard. Those who agree, those who disagree, those who say this one has this degree, those who think he doesn't have. That is quite fine. Let people ventilate. It's part of the healthy democratic space and arena. That said and done, I sincerely believe that the Honorable Raila Odinga has got the qualifications that he says he has. Nobody has been able to come and prove to us, for whatever reason, that he does not have those qualifications. I disagree with the Rarieda MP, Honorable Amolo Otiende, that the qualifications, the credentials are not important. They are important, and that's why they have been listed. And I verily believe, as the lawyers would say, that the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has these qualifications. I believe that he was in Maranda School and he left. In fact, those who are in Maranda say that he had a difference, some fundamental differences with some of the teachers, and it was as a factor of those differences that he left Maranda. He left this country, and he has documented it very well in his autobiography, The Flame of Freedom. Very well documented how he left Miranda, how the government of President Nyerere helped him to get travel documents, how he lost some of the stuff in Egypt, how he eventually got to Germany, the universities that he went to, documented in granular detail up to the point that he came back and taught at the University of Nairobi. The University of Nairobi has not come up and said that he did not teach here. How he attempted to go back to Germany to pursue a PhD degree, and the family factors that came into play and caused him to suspend that for a very long time and to get instead into establishing East African Spectre together with some friends, and the difficult hurdles that came in the way, but how he eventually managed to get East African Spectre in place, how the life of East African Spectre gave way to the Kenya Bureau of Standards. It was a factor of the reality that there was no entity within the country which could standardize the gas cylinders that they were making at East African Spectre and all that. Raila Odinga's history is as open as a book, and you can read it, including his academic history. I have had the privilege of meeting people who were with him in Europe during that time, and they attest to the fact that he was in these various universities. And gentlemen, you know that I take scholarship very seriously. I'm not the kind of person who would go around endorsing and saying that I believe this person has got these qualifications when there is room to doubt. But let us have the debate, including the quacks, including the dropouts who do not have even the primary school certificate, and who are the first ones to start questioning somebody's competence and somebody's qualifications. The two gentlemen on the panel with me raise a very fundamental question. That is the question of the candidacy of Mr. Odinga as being a Kenyan candidacy. That as a country we are being placed on the weighing scales of astuteness to provide leadership in the international forum, on the continental scene. And I do think that with or even without President Ruto saying that I think this is the right person, with or without him having what Mheshimiwa Kirwa would suspect to be ulterior motives, we have got a candidate. Our man is on the weighing scales, and by the same token, President William Ruto is on the weighing scales. If Raila Odinga should unfortunately not clinch this thing, it will not just be about him who has lost. President Ruto, whatever coincidental gain there could be for him in the unfolding scenario, will also have lost. It is an opportunity to test his Pan-Africanism, because he has been going abroad, presenting himself, casting himself in the mold of a Pan-Africanist, speaking tough to the external world, talking at the World Bank, talking at the European community, telling it to treat Africa better and fair. Now, this is the time for him to walk the talk that we are going to be watching, and the whole world with us, how robustly he goes out to campaign for Raila Odinga. And I do agree that these people who are flinging mud, if they are from the inner sanctums of the President William Ruto government, they need to be called to order. It is not making sense that you are presenting a candidate before the continent, and at the same time, elements within government are casting aspersions that elements within the government are bringing into the arena debris from the past, that even the president himself is being heard condemning people he called the handshake brothers. He's talking about the reggae dance. He's talking about what he calls the BBI nonsense. He must be able to bundle some things together and throw them into the jar, the dustbin where they belong, and focus on the task at hand. But you cannot possibly be presenting to us as a country a candidate and at the same time questioning the credentials of this candidate, at the same time lampooning him, at the same time lampooning Uhuru Kenyatta. I want to believe that President Uhuru Kenyatta has been in Dar es Salaam to talk to President Samia Suluhu, as a way of canvassing for Mr. Odinga. I want to believe that there's going to be a battery of eminent Kenyans going all over the continent seeking support for Raila Odinga. And it is an exercise in mischief to suggest that President Uhuru has gone to Tanzania to tell Samia that I'm also interested in this thing. Please give it to me. Uhuru Kenyatta would seem to fall in the platonic prism of people who, in spite of the whatever perceived shortcomings may be, are not necessarily interested in being kings. No, Plato talks about kings, and he says philosophers should be kings because they know how to rule, but they also don't want.
The philosopher king
is someone who has often found himself being pushed into those spaces, just like Mwai Kibaki before him. I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta is interested in becoming the chair to the Africa Union Commission. I want to believe that he has other business. If it's about Mr. Odinga and the AU, it's about canvassing for him. And we are possibly going to be seeing him meeting many other leaders from the continent. I also don't believe that President Kikwete would want to get into a murky and messy arena. However, I wait for the grain of unfolding events to prove me wrong.
Yeah, Diban, it is useful just to remind Kenyans the highest we've gone in terms of climbing the ladder of AU Commission is that of Erastus Mwenja, who was the vice chair. Otherwise, since the formation of that organization, Kenyans have not been privileged. Tanzania, yes, they had Ahmed Salim, who was the Secretary General of OAU before it was changing to AU. But most of the positions have either gone to Central Africa or West Africa. And therefore, if Raila Odinga was to qualify and get elected into that position, it's not only a privilege for us as Kenyans, but it's also an opportunity for East Africa to experience again, in the last 60 years, a second chance of holding that particular position. It is also instructive to say that the president of a country like Kenya is supposed to be the promoter. Otherwise, that particular position, no other country can vote for Raila if the promoter is not the President of the Republic. He must get support of the government of the day for that position to gain gravitas among other heads of state and government throughout the continent. And I just want to agree with my colleagues that let us not go splitting hairs on certain things that are not relevant for the time being. And let's not spend a lot of time settling our scores that we've been settling politically in Kenya. Let us spend time coming back to issue that we call a word called patriotism. Kenyans, we seem to run away from that. That if a Kenyan today was told by the doctor, you have a chance to live for the next 10 months, what are you worried about? Many of them will be worried of their children. Many of them will be worried of their wealth, whether their empire is going to collapse. Many of them will be worried of their battery of friends and girlfriends, whether they are going to be taken by the people around this table. And many of them will be worried about certain individuals aspiring to power. There are people, even if they were not candidates, they'll be worried about Barack being the next.
They are worried all the time.
Okay. So, but the way
they pick their girlfriends.
The way I would be worried is that if I have only 10 months to live, I'm worried what will Kenya be in the next 10 years, in the next 100 years. Are we going to be a divided nation where I think about myself, where I think about my family, at the exclusion of many other families in this country? I cry every night. I cry every day when I think of Kenya, where each one of us pays for the blood of the other one. We seem to enjoy sadism. We seem to enjoy when Kenyans are suffering. Say that what makes a joke is how Barack Muluka was embarrassed in the streets of Nairobi. You know, we are not worried that Barack Muluka should not be embarrassed because he has a role to play. He has played a certain role and he still got the balance of his life playing a role about nation building.
Absolutely.
I should be worried about Professor Kindiki being embarrassed in the streets of Nairobi. But many people will take a lot of glee in saying yes, it serves him right, and for no apparent reason. So I just want to convince Kenyans, really to plead with them, that let us spend time thinking about positive things about the rest of us, because it means a lot when we are together. It means a lot when East Africa is together, because after all, this is a conglomeration of tribes pervading this atmosphere. Do you know Nyerere was born a Kenyan? Do you know if President Moi had been born 2 years before, he would have been born a Ugandan? Until the King of England decided in his own pleasure that he wants that particular region to be administered from Nairobi. And he wants a certain section of the lake to move so that the lake, Tanzania gets more of the lake. That is how Nyerere became a Tanzanian. You know, these are some of the facts that really disturb me when we seem to hate each other so much just because of political expediency. That I'm in Azimio, so and so is in Kenya Kwanza. What is Kenya Kwanza? This country has gone through almost every election, a new formation forms the government for the last 25 years. It bothers me a lot. And this Raila thing really made me so emotional. Last week, I did not have a chance to be with you. I was burning with emotion. I was burning with rage that Kenyans, when are we going to say this guy deserves the position, this other one can wait for another day?
Deborah, I think as we debate here, of course, Kenyans have the freedom of expression and expressing their democratic rights to support or maybe disagree with the candidature of Raila Odinga. But the way I look at the whole issue is that, first of all, who is complaining about the credentials of Raila Odinga? Because here we will be talking of the university where he graduated from. That is an authority. Or maybe the University of Nairobi where he was a lecturer. That is another designated authority. Or maybe the government of Germany or the government of Kenya or somebody. But here is something that comes in the discussion somewhere in the networks and whatever, and people start commenting is not qualified, then it becomes a national debate. But it's not really authentic, or this discussion, this questioning is not authentically coming from an authorized institution. But it takes much of our time discussing of things that are not there, because it's not an institution that is really complaining. Okay. And before that, the most worried lot is not even the Kenya Kwanza government. It is the ODM people, his people. Honestly, because when people say, where is our leader going? And if he goes this way, where are we going to? I think there's a problem there, because I see them coming and then asking what will happen to our party without him. But to me, is let him go. There will come a leader. There will come a leader and take over. So I think the debate here, on a very friendly terms, we as Kenyans,
let's hear from the strategic communications advisor. So do you think we've overplayed our hands, even as media outlets, in trying to project the story?
No, we haven't. All these are subjects that must engage us. That there's this individual who is an institution in himself, a phenomenon, who appears to be moving out of that theater. And it is quite germane that we have got to discuss that. Agree with the professor here about the voices that are questioning the astuteness, suitability of Mr. Odinga. But as a student of literature, and especially theater arts, I know you get a little concerned about which of these things I've studied. It's all of them. I'm eclectic. Yeah?
This is eclecticism.
Eclectic. Yeah. I'm aware that in theater, particularly the Elizabethan theater, you had people who are called groundlings. These are people who occupied the pit right at the front of the theater, looking at the characters on the stage and abusing them, thinking that they are actually what they are representing on the stage, and they abused them in the most foul language, sometimes even introducing very foul emissions within the theater. So we should not be so bothered about the groundlings. They must be allowed. Of course. They must be allowed to have their say.
Fantastic. Let's just give our headline thoughts because of time today.
And finally, there's Kukubo Barasa who is watching out there, have been told, and he's wondering whether I'm a student of Mwai Kibaki. Of course, Kukubo Barasa was my literature teacher. And he's worried that I've declared on national TV that I'm the husband of only one wife. Mwalimu, that is only for the time being.
Thank you. All right, let's get to your headline thoughts.
Well, I just want to thank the administration of the day for taking a retreat, and I hope from that retreat they learn to build teams, because in teamwork you can achieve a lot. And in that team, you must allow each participant to have a chance to play a role and be recognized as leaders in certain specific milestones. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Let's hear from Kindiki, your closing remarks.
Yeah, my closing remarks is that these discussions that are going on about the candidature of the Honorable Raila Odinga, they should not be personal. I think let Kenyans discuss about it. And the issues about the retreat, which Mheshimiwa has talked about, the president is doing well. And I think it will help the cabinet and the people in leadership to work together as a team so that they bring some development progress in this country. So I think it's a good thing for Kenyans to discuss various issues, and it's a democratic space which can be enjoyed by everyone of us.
Indeed. Right, and as maybe the student of divinity will likely tell us that St. Aquinas once said, what, in essentials? unity. Non-essentials, liberty in all things, charity. So we as a country, let's coalesce with the essentials right now and prop up one we think that will make a formidable candidate for this particular seat, as the president is lobbying also for that as well. We stand behind our own. Let's not be fragmented on money issues and splitting hairs. In essentials, unity. In non-essentials, liberty in all things, charity, as expressed by St. Aquinas. Thank you.